Owa agreement. Okay, I guess I gotta stay still. Alright, so anyhow, may not jump in no time soon, but hey, I gotta jump in because I know they scrambling the broadcast. So, you know, of course, we touching on a very touchy subject, and this is dealing with the tribe, you know what I'm saying, the Most High tribe. So, we got FBAs, we got ninjas. For those who probably don't know, this is like an inter-family thing. We got Moors, you know, people who striving to claim the land has been striving to tell us that we're from across the ocean, and then striving to say that we're from America at the same time. A lot of that stuff is going on, you know what I'm saying? But the ones who really see and really dig it know, like, yo, it's boiling down to a final few, you know what I mean? And so we naturally and supernaturally are coming together at this point. And so I just wanted to touch in and chime in on, you know, just building on, you know, the fact that as an American NAGA, to be able to explain the whole narcissistic abuse situation on what narcissistic abuse truly is. It's an idolized, devalue, and discard mechanism, while at the same time going around and creating a smear campaign around the world to other people to make it seem like you look bad. Basically, like if you got or if you ever see like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, they kind of cheat on they main one, and they talk bad to their side piece about the main one, like they're making the main one look bad or something, but they really making all their whole self look bad. So, you know, it's the same thing that's going on with the American NAGA. You know, everybody was told that the nigga was from, you know, Africa, and even the NOI stepped in to say the shit that, you know, niggas couldn't swim 9,000 miles. I'm pretty sure we all heard of this, you know. And so, shut out. What's happening? What's happening? What's going on with you? All right. So, anyhow, just jumping into the game, you know, as far as like just dealing with, you know, the lie that was told to niggas that we came from Africa from so-called shepherds. Peace. Leyland, what's happening? Appreciate you, love. You know, as far as like they gave us the whole story. The NOI came to the hood and told us that, yo, we couldn't swim 9,000 miles to get back to Africa. They didn't really give us too much detail on where we came from and how we came about. And, you know, we just know that Alex Haley had a book and he wrote Roots and things of that nature, you know? Hey, what's happening? Penelope 333, what's happening? So, you know, we're getting in on a touchy subject, but just to let everyone know that, yo, there were indigenous niggas or nagas in America, and that, you know, these false prophets like the NOI, the Farrakhan's, all these people who kind of try to stand up for black people in America are just an outright lie, you know? They could have been told everyone that we were naturally indigenous to the land, and that our land was taken over through a swindle of treaties and colonization that took place. They could have told everyone that. They went around the world narcissistically. I'm psychologically explaining it. They went to dealing with the cluster B personality disorder. We're gonna get spiritually in tune even more when you're dealing with certain spiritual aspects that you're dealing with. Being in tune with the source, the soul, the nature, and all that stuff. These beings went around the world and gaslighted a false story, a false narrative of who the nigga was in America, or the NAGA. So, as far as like the NAGA in America, they were already living with cities. I'm talking about like with streets, subway systems, you know, trains. I'm talking about trains that went across the whole continent or the whole North America. We had buses, we had vehicles, we had we learned how to keep our houses warm in the wintertime, you know? And with the narrative they taught, like they teach everybody that when they show up, everybody's in like cloth and, you know, got loincloths on. Maybe in Africa, but not in America. We had already sophisticated fur factories. We didn't have to go and kill an animal and just, you know, string it up on and put it on us like, yeah, and all that shit. No, we actually had laws. We actually had the Constitution was already going down. We had buildings that these people didn't build on our land with horse and carriage. And so what they didn't tell you, and you have to put it together by using discernment, you know, as far as like, we were attacked on all ends. We were very kind people. We were allowing people to come to our land, but it was like, just like with passports, when you go to other people's lands and they have to go back and leave your land in a certain amount of time, this is what was happening with us. We was allowing them to come over and experience, you know what I'm saying, the World's Fair and all these different things with all these buildings that we had, and to show the evolution of the great civilization, basically the greatest civilization on earth, and how we went around the world already. But a war took place that wasn't told to the mass people. We were told that niggas was taken from Africa and brought to America, you know? And a lot of people who wanted to benefit off of that, they became these celebrities and they signed these contracts so they wouldn't reveal the truth and wouldn't reveal on how you can connect back up to the higher upper room to your ancestors, because your ancestors was bamboozled too. We were very kind people. Not naive and nice, but kind. You know, we already had drums. I'm talking about snare drums, colleges. We had brass instruments. I'm talking about saxophones. You see how sophisticated a saxophone is? We already had that popping. Trumpets, trombones, clarinets, flutes. We had a flute. You can see how the flute evolved to what it is. You know, so we got wood flutes. We have flutes that's huge. You know what I'm saying? We got all kind of flutes. We got brothers that can play the flute so cold it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Even the drum. Those two were the first instruments, you know? So we already became really in tune with nature. A lot of this new age stuff you hear, they regurgitated it from our libraries that we'd already had thousands of years ago. And so they knew we were people who were connected with our spirit realm and, you know, the sky people as well. And so we was also connected to the source, getting inspiration straight from the source, not the murder, death, kill to do the worst shit, you know? This narcissistic energy that we got going on now, it came from when it was allowed. This is a biblical story. This is biblical. We're a prophetic culture. So Most High is going to tell you how it's going to be done, and it's going to happen. And so, of course, they have the Council of Nicaea, and you have swift angels who think they're really smart, and they will place, you know, they will try to make up their plan, but their plan is in the Most High's plan. So it's just to show you that within all the worlds, there's going to be angels who are going to fall from the third resurrection, which is the highest resurrection on the planet before, or a world before leaving and going into Etheria. Everything's meant to go upward. So, and that's why it gets lighter and lighter. It's density, you know what I mean? And so, and dealing with buoyancy and stuff. And so anyhow though, they knew that we was a culture that we advanced. We showed us from the start all the way up to the most advanced. But they also told these angels that these swift angels, that as far as like, these are the ones that are gonna control their worlds and go down off the third resurrection to try to run mortals and shit. I just gotta keep it real quick. I'm looking over here because I'm peeping the muds coming around, but my little birds ain't tripping, you know what I'm saying? So, anyhow though, why the nigga is so important in America is because we already established this around the whole world. We went around the whole world and planted gardens and agriculture and taught of the Most High all spirit and how to life and how you have an extra light body within inside your corporate body. Because a lot of individuals who are dealing on a 666 level or a carbon level, you know, they're in a beastly level in their own reality. They're not in a higher silica-based type of thinking. We're dealing with elements now, minerals and shit. That's why it's important for us to eat right and exact foods, because this is how we get back into our right and exact, you know, thinking, and also controlling our sexual natures and desires and the desire to try to control somebody else. We were so kind, we allowed them to come in and chill. We even allowed them to vote themselves into our you know, our culture. The Most High already said it. So we were very advanced, man, very advanced. You know, how they explain it in the Bible, you can kind of see the narrative of how, you know, that when they painted the picture of Moses and how long ago Egypt was and people just walking around somewhere, you know, niggas, no. We were very advanced. We already had planes and cars and shit, man. They just pulled these out the vault. You know, the Wright brothers didn't make no plane. The plane was already here. We have airports. We have more airports than anywhere in the world. We had national travel already, man. You know, it was already up there. I'm talking about up there. You know, and so as far as like with the war went down and taking over our lands and our plantations and where we grew our crops, you know what I'm saying, our fruits, which was cotton and, you know, our leaves, our, you know, our linen, our clothes. We learned how to do all this stuff because our angels, our ancestors, lived thousands of years in atmosphere after transitioning, was teaching us, the mortals, as time goes. It's like a big homie teaching a little homie all the time, you know what I mean? And we got bigger homies, and they know that. And so this is why the Most High wants you to develop the fruits of the Spirit more so when you're dealing with patience, you know, discipline, and all these different things, whatever, you know, just pull up the fruits of the Spirit. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm just going straight off the top, you know. But the fruits of the Spirit is very important if those who know that. If you're not, just Google it real quick. You'll see where it's at. And to develop it while he's in the flesh. And to do this, to cultivate that, you got to deal with your Kundalini energy. And this is how they attacked us. And so we started mating with these individuals. But on all the worlds, the Most High got infinite worlds, speed. I'm talking about infinite worlds. And so this happens on all the worlds where certain angels want to go down. It goes back to this. When certain angels want to go down, hey, Muscab, hope I said it just right. You know what I'm saying? And so it happens on all the worlds where it's not just Earth, you know, it happens on worlds. Earth is just Earth is basically the plane of all the worlds, or what it is. So we can't get it mixed up with like it's a separate place. You know, there's a beyond. You see that horizon right there? That's not a curved horizon. So we know that water is gonna always be level. We're getting the download straight from the silica, from Most High, you know, coming in, giving us that boom. The water saying Hawaii as it crashed upon the lava rocks, silica base and the crystals. Got my feet on the earth. So we getting the downloads on the sun, boom, 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 and the UV radiation is very extreme. About like 12 right now, you know what I mean? So on 13, so it's hot. Anyhow, so it already informed us that it's gonna be angels that's gonna go down from certain resurrections and try to take over the plane. You know, this information right now, I know you probably ain't, I know you're like, what the hell is this nigga talking about? We got to put it together. This is why it's important for the foundational Americans to get together, you know, to deal with this narcissistic abuse. When anytime you're dealing with a narcissistic entity who makes everything about their self, they gotta have enablers around them due to whatever they came up with. If they were abandoned, or if they were orphans, or if they came out of the Cabbage Patch. You're dealing with a species, now you can understand how to deal with a true narcissistic entity. This is what America is. This is what America is. And when you deal with narcissism, you're gonna deal with the cluster B personality, which is dealing with the sociopaths, the very communicative motherfuckers, which is narcissism next. Then you got borderline, which is borderline insanity, and then you have histrionic. You can have a comorbid of all these things, which is a whole bunch. This is what America has. So this narcissistic relationship that it has with its foundational black Americans, or just niggas in general, because it's the best way to kind of explain it to everybody until everybody catches on that, you know, the niggas is the true indigenous people of the land, you know, and that we allow people to come over to the land. And so with that being said, you know, the best way to pretty much explain it without having to be able to point the finger all the time, like, yo, they this and then this and this. We're dealing with a narcissistic entity. And the niggas that's in America is its narcissistic supply source. This is a primary supply source, meaning that narcissistic entity does not want to lose that primary supply source. This is why this narcissistic entity can never leave this supply source, you know? Very abusive. And also it goes around the world and gaslights all these insecurities that they have onto everybody else about this primary narcissistic supply source. This is another reason why the Nagas in America have to break up and expatriate, basically. We're gonna put it in a lawful term, and get up out their shit, because they're already showing you they're using their hand. If you create militia, they got National Guard. Well, nigga, you can't be in the National Guard. You know, that's pretty much it. It's either you go, or you don't choose your side to go with that, because we know it's outright offense all the time towards America's primary narcissistic supply, which is the nigga. Psychologically explaining this shit, you know. So if we psychologically explain it, it gives you a better and easier way to be able to understand it, you know. Because you got a lot of parasites in you, and you be like, damn, I don't get it. if you're eating a lot of meat, carbon-based foods, you're gonna have a lot of parasites up in you. So it's gonna be hard for you to be able to catch on and see what the hell we got going on. Yo, what's going on? What's happening? Bye, and look down for a second. I ain't mean to, just disassociate from that. Sorry about that. Peace, y'all. Peace. So yeah, I like America's a good place when it's built on principles of what NAGAs had, niggas had in America. We already had a dress code. Our Victorian dress in America, that was us. If you look up Victorian style dress, you'll see the Victoria buildings. They call them colonial buildings in Mexico or something like that. But on the mainland of America, it was Victoria style buildings, Victoria dress, very elegant. And these dresses were made out of, the suits and all these were made out of natural fibers that gives you energy, electricity. Our land had a lot of fossilized trees that were cut down, very intense. They had to cut these trees down in order for them to even exist on the land of Amaru. Even with all that copper that Nagas had, gold was abundant, and so it's very intense and very powerful. So they had to rob that land, or our land, of those precious stones, because they know we're silica-based people. We're not carbon-based. We're not the man. We're not 666. They know that those stones interact with us. We communicate with the stones like electricity type shit, like, so that's why niggas love wearing, gold and jewelry and shit like that, because it's embedded in your DNA. Not DEA, just whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna say not DEA, but all that, that you may see it to be. But we connect with precious stones and minerals and elements naturally. That's because we're we're basically mineralites. We eat minerals. So we had to go around. We're gonna bring the sweet potato over, but we're gonna show you this particular in it. Youthful appearance, just naturally being, young. But if you're eating a lot of, we can say not carbohydrate, because carbohydrate is the sugar, which is a crystal, which is the fuel for your body. People go against the sugar. They talk so bad about sugar, but it depends. Everything has sugar. Whether it's a slow digestive carb, which is a carb that's like, still with the grains and shit like that, but that's still dealing with crystals that very high in silica. And so basically niggas is starting to learn how to break up with their narcissistic abuser, you know what I mean, with America. And you have to learn how to be self point, which is through your kundalini, and that's when you start getting serious. You get back mind again, out of your mind again. Because once you get in your mind, you be ruminating and doing things in your mind. And then you start to become out of your mind, and then it's like out of your mind in the sense where you're not really sane no more. You want to be out of your mind where you can look and be sane and still controlling yourself like a third body experience, like on a video game and shit. Not just like you ain't in control and you out of your mind, and now you got druges or certain spirits that can latch onto your aura and get you to do certain things and shit now, because now you're under control of a certain entity that don't even have a sense of identity of their own self. And so when you're dealing with anything with narcissistic abuse, we got to give it all the way back and really deal with self, because when you're dealing with self, that's the only way you can heal when you're healing from a narcissist. You don't see a chick or a dude healing from a narcissistic abuser that they had a boyfriend or a girlfriend that just cheated on them real bad, and then they gotta go sit with their homeboys or homegirls for forever. Them homeboys or homegirls ain't gonna want to sit with them and shit unless they want misery, want company to be like them. Like, I ain't gonna have a man, so you can hang with me. Or the niggas like, I ain't gonna have shit, or nigga, I got my shit, but I ain't gonna let y'all know what's going on, type shit, whatever. You have to go and heal on your own. You'll get to a point where you gotta go sit by yourself, by some water, stream, and start to, allow yourself to heal. So as American niggas, that's what we're gonna have to do. Everybody gonna have to take their place. We shouldn't be so mad to be like, well, why the niggas gotta go by themselves? It's almost sounding narcissistic, like you don't wanna let a motherfucker go. That's what it is. You won't wanna let a motherfucker go. And we're gonna show you have to play your hand, that we are your primary narcissistic supply source. And we're gonna leave your ass alone. And we're only gonna deal with the Most High. We're gonna give you everything back. The ancestors are already working. I got the birds over here and shit. The ancestors are already working in the upper heavens of the earth and its planes, right here in our world and shit. And on all the islands too. I'm gonna get deeper on that one. But this is why it's important Even if you're islanders, yo, man, you got to get back with where your people stem from at that time for thousands of years or whatnot. Connect with the ancestors if you don't want to be on the mainland with us. You know, we're not gonna allow talking bad back and forth, especially with the nigga in America with all the pictures that motherfuckers done seen. You know, where everybody done seen all the pictures that went down in, especially in my homeland in Mississippi, and what they done did, put rings around motherfuckers' neck, jingle bells. I don't know y'all heard all about that shit. And we still was loving and kind to these people, P. We thought they were people, but they're not. They're 666. They're the sign of the beast. Got you to think that you the fucking beast. Like you the 666. No, nigga, you a crystalline being. You deal with the all-spark. This is what you is. So you supposed to, your food is totally different from a carbon motherfucker, from a beastly motherfucker. They eat totally different than you. You eat a certain way, so that's why you spiritually off. You got the parasites and shit, and eating human food, or human flesh from McDonald's and Burger King, whatever in the fuck. Niggas, we not gonna, now if they gonna have that in the land, we don't even need it now. We gonna go and be like, okay, y'all can keep it, but we're not gonna do business with you. You already know we're not supposed to have money, right? You say we ain't even supposed to be traveling on your roads, motherfucker, because you pull us over so goddamn much. So once what the word they say, mother, I don't even know what that word means. Delineate or whatnot. That means that if you've been narcissistically abused, motherfucker gotta go by themselves and sit down. And it's like motherfuckers is afraid niggas is gonna go by themselves. Why? Because he may heal supernaturally. She may heal supernaturally, and we're figuring out the way to heal, you know? We know already now it's at the end. We see the narcissistic abuse. We see the agents put back into the game on the nigga trying to get mothers to be sucked into the false shepherds and the false prophets. That shit is over with now. The great conjunction had already happened. The divine had already happened in the sky. We've seen Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in the same house with Capricorn. So this is going to be a long-lasting ass whooping right here, you know? You shouldn't have did what you done. So now it's hitting the forefront, nigga. You know? You don't really leave your king. A king don't really leave his kingdom too many times. If you a king, you don't leave your shit too much. You deal with yourself, you know? You deal with what you learn, and that's what NAGA's gonna do. Deal with what we learn. Healing up, you know? We're not shunning away nobody, but it's almost like everybody don't want us to get our energy to our own self. You know, I get shunned every day. You'd be so surprised. The favorite word of everybody out here when they get mad is nigga. They just love that word. That's the world's favorite word, G. It's nigga. When I hear a motherfucker get mad out here, they say nigga. They just say it. They love it. They love to say it. We on their mind so goddamn much and we ain't even did shit bad to no one. Most I said it in the scripts. Like, nigga, nobody came to help. Nobody put no money out. Nobody said shit. We didn't get no farms. But nobody didn't buy nothing. But now it's finna start happening. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers finna be buying and getting farms now. You know? Because shits are being forced to do it. Like the Most High is forcing you to leave the city. Like, nigga, you in the city like that. You're traveling in their world. Just imagine when you pull back. You know, you pull back out their world, you ain't gotta travel in their city. The only thing that's keeping you in there is them spirits that's keeping you in the city. Motherfuckers, you know, they already know that mothers might go to Africa, to Kenya and shit, but what's the fuck is there to do in Kenya? How many ancestors you had lived and died and had elaborate funerals in Kenya? I mean, they pretty much can do. They gotta catch up to us. They're gonna be surrender styling us. This is why they put the UN over there. You know, what you do? Drinking is conjuring spirits up. You know what I mean? Conjuring spirits. All you do with the African bros, if they're not the chosen, is drink and conjure up some spirits. They love doing that. Every spirit but the all spirit, nigga. Everybody love conjuring up spirits but the all spirit. They want to be like us, but they can't be like us. We conjure up the ancestors, chill. We should chill, eat food, give honors and shit. Go into the room in the back, pray, chop it up with the ancestors. We got very in tune people. They call us sargas, people who can see spirits and hear spirits. This is in our natural culture. But they didn't want that to help us, so they gave us poisonous foods, which will cause us to fear and fight one another. It's how they put in the chaos and confusion amongst us. That's why it's important for the nigga in America. Another reason to stay exclusively to heal real quick. Niggas need to have a time to heal and see their magic and talk about and discuss what the fuck niggas just really went through. Like, yo, we haven't even been able to sit back and heal yet. Motherfuckers still don't even want to let us go and do our own thing. You know, they can't refute or rebuttal or put a rebuttal up of what the Most High is doing right now. Most High has really got the hand over America, and it's deep, and it's big too, and all over the world. So basically, it's like a forceful for all the chosen ones who know that there's an all spirit that exists to actually unite. But the only way you can be able to test it, you got to test it with angels and spirits and mortals. What you call angels and spirits, basically the same thing. Whoever come and act like they are the all highest. These beings act like they are the all highest, and they're not. So you got to test them. It's deep, man. So this is the lesson that we learned. What you call it? Oh, okay. So that's a lesson we learned. Now we can fight or flight response. We can see that why people are bullies. We can see because we have a spiritual eye. I'm at it's noon. It's right above my head. The sun is right above me. So I do my little prayer, and I still be fasting. I'm gonna eat my daggone silica-based foods with my fruits. Got me a pineapple over there. I'm gonna get that in. And of course that further helps all the crystals because you're a crystalline being. And we're not carbon beings, we niggas. That's when we start talking about that. All the infiltrators who be talking about all kind of shit about niggas, that shit will just fall to the wayside. When everything they say, you just go to the wayside then. Because we're like, okay, no, we eat like this. It's the reason why we had the corn. It's the reason why we had the wheat, the grains, and all of this. We was feeding our horses good. We fed our horses great. They eat silica. So that's what we gotta naturally focus on more so, and the bond that we will form will not be a flimsy bond like a carbon bond, like the bond of a 666 molecule. Will be a bond because we're picky and choosy. Silica is picky and choosy. It's going to bond with the right other atoms to form a structure, to form an element, and that's what we do. We don't just form with everybody. Now we got this lesson that we can't form with everybody, because there are some entities who are narcissistically challenged or sociopathically challenged. They actually they idolize you, devalue you, and then do you off. And that's what they done, especially to a being when we were more nicer back then, which is kind of ignorant, but we were kind. We're still kind. Most High shows that we're still kind because we didn't go off and murder nobody. But when we're talking about healing our own self, everybody got something to say. Everybody got something to say that we ain't shit and we ain't this and this and that. We're like, cool. It's like breaking up with it. Okay, cool. Let us not be shit. All right? Let us not be shit then. Leave us the fuck alone. And let's see what happens. Because Most High already prophesies and they know the prophecy is with Judah. If we're going to use it into the biblical, the prophecy is with Judah. And niggas are considered the tribe of Judah people. So with that being said, man, now we can see that as in a psychological standpoint, if we divide up what narcissism really truly is, it's dealing with someone who basically got abused in their childhood or was an orphan and never really healed. And we want to heal our orphans. It's a whole different ball game. In order for us to teach, we're going to have to be celibate and repent and get the kundalini going up and popping. See, these are things we have to discuss with ourselves. This is serious. This is what they don't want us to understand. So a nigga had to get by himself for a few years to be able to chop it up. Because it seems like they don't want niggas to be by themselves for 5 years. Like, alone. Like, let's leave them niggas alone for 5 years and let them heal. No. Because narcissistically, they going to hoover around to see what you're doing. What's happening? They're going to break no contact. You establish no contact, they going to break no contact. You know what I'm saying? So, it's very important. No contact is very important when you're trying to heal from narcissistic abuse. Narcissistic abuse can get as heavy as you can be narcissistically abused by a parent, a loved one, It gets that serious. Most High let you know it's that serious. So, as far as like letting a nigga heal from that, because nobody never gave niggas 5 years to go heal on their own. Like, nigga, you need to, y'all let them brothers heal on their own for 5 years. We're creating WIC programs and lunch programs and for everybody to benefit off. Man, that's a high grade of spirituality right there. If everybody can benefit off of it, and we at the most poverty state, like niggas is at dealing with the most poverty at those times when Muggs came up with those type of programs and implemented them. Now we're benefiting off of it. Now everybody's benefiting off of it. You go to the store, I see WIC everywhere, but not knowing where the WIC came from. Like, come on now. So this is another reason why it's important for niggas to go back and heal on their own again. Because for once, it'll show your hand. Are you narcissistic? If you're another culture or whatnot, can you heal? Or or you're chosen of the other culture, then you can come and fuck with us. You know what I mean? Because you had the same rhythm and the same bop as us. You had the same faith as the all high creator as us. Because we naturally got it, P. You know? And Most High has shown us to the world as the biggest sacrifice in the world. The whole world. There's nobody as bigger of a sacrifice, not even the false Jews that they try to say. You know what I mean? It's nobody's a bigger sacrifice, and it was already shown on the temples of Angkor Wat in the past of what's going on right now. The true crucifixion is dealing with the NAGA. Him and his mate hung up with on a cross, mocking the understanding of the cross in the sky. That's why false prophets can't teach us. There is a cross in the sky. We're dealing with the zodiac now. Now we know how to split the zodiac like a pie, and now we name different regions with different energies now. We learned this from our ancestors who graduated off of the earth plane. Niggas learned this. This is why they like, damn, how do y'all know this? Because niggas already done did it. We done already did it. Star forts, everything. That you see all over the fucking world. Mounds, all over the fucking world. You know? Energy points, ley lines, man, for everybody to benefit off of the energy. But you had someone who slipped into the game, boom, which was already allowed, which is a spirit, not a mortal. So you're caught up in the flesh, the corporal. They use the corporate to come in and fuck with niggas. It's spirits. Hideous looking ass spirits too. They don't see and comprehend the higher heavens. And so these beings want to be the all high heaven. That's why you have false gods coming. That's why religion changed so many thousand years in the past. It's just from the end now, because all high establishing the most high kingdom right now, on the earth plane right now. You know what I'm saying? The promised land is ours, and they know it. So this is why they come and they trying to counter what's going to go down. And they know already, whatever they got, it's already in the plan of the creator. And they already lost. And they already knew it. So, with that being said, Nagas is going to naturally magnetize together first. And then, everyone is going to catch on. It's not going to be individuals from the outside looking at us no more. We're going to do it first, and then everybody. We're going to show they got to play their hand, because if they think like, why y'all didn't master and do this? Because they burnt our cities, man. We built cities multiple times. They burnt the cities, flooded the cities. We did all that, man. Everything you're saying, it's like nigga trying to explain. Nigga, everything you're saying, nigga, we already did it. You know what I'm saying? So now we just had to patiently wait for the divine to line up with our shit. So now we done got the Kundalini up, and it's like, yo, what you gonna say now? We got the hand. We got the hand with us, Pete. So the only way you can truly do it with niggas in America, you're gonna have to repent, which is basically not having sex no more. We ain't gonna do it by having sex. I just gotta tell you that right now. Or busting nuts and shit. I'm saying having orgasms. You can be intimate, but busting orgasms is very it's gonna be hard for us to be able to get the true discipline, because we got to get the light up to the crown chakra. That's why you see when Jesus' light was lit, his crown was always lit. The nigga had the light to the crown chakra. The nigga he wasn't busting nuts, kid. Okay? As a people, that's how we're gonna do it. That's how we get to the crown chakra. We are the true Christ consciousness. The false Christ Lord Monk is over with. The false gods, all those is done with right now. There's remnants in their little heavens that our ancestors is cleaning up before us even talk about this right now. So basically, we just focusing on not releasing our light, spilling our seed, jacking off, being in the corner like, women play with themselves. But once they see that we ain't doing it, they ain't gonna do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Women will do it. You know what I'm saying? They're orgasmically, they're multi-orgasmic creatures and shit. That's when you have your orgasm. You know, it's as above, so below. She gives the period out, we give the light up to the top. Once you start figuring out that energy, boom, everything starts setting in. You ain't gonna covet another person's thing. You ain't gonna covet your brother's thing. You're gonna look out for your brother even more. It's already in your DNA to do it, but it's gonna be even more. You're gonna jump out even more. But right now, you're busting nuts and shit. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the most dangerous thing that could be going on right now, because within that, you're in the low chakra, and the lowest base chakra, which is a good place to create, but at the same time, if it's utilized against you, it's fucked up. And that's what they use against us, you know? Molestation for a long time, some generations, basically. You know, so now we're here to correct that, taking the power back like that, and it's definitely a response all over the world. So if one person doing it, it's definitely going to chime in into the ether, and it's going to divide out equally to all of us, and it's just going to be like boom, 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 and then it just spreads like wildfire. All right, I love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be with you in the next one.